Hey guys, Matt Hooker here. One of my favorite all-time fighters is Jack Dempsey, and this is his book, Championship Fighting. Explosive punching and aggressive defense. If you do not have a copy of this book, it's really cheap to find. Amazon or other websites sell it for around $20. So if you don't have it, you have to purchase this book. A lot of good nuggets, good insights are in this book. So in this video, I'm going to focus on Jack Dempsey and his fighting style. Now let's talk about Jack Dempsey's favorite punch, which is the hook punch. Technically, that lead hook. He was known for that lead knockout hook punch to the jaw. So this is going to be a little different to some of you if you have boxing training, because a lot of, especially here in America, we coach and teach hooks with the thumb up. Thumb up. Jack Dempsey's old school, where they didn't hook with the thumb up, they hook with the palm down. Just like a lot of your Eastern European boxing styles, where they coach or teach to hook with the palm down. My opinion, my personal opinion of vertical fist hook or horizontal fist hook is find out what best works for you. But Jack Dempsey talks about keeping the hook pure and following the power line. So the first thing we got to review real quick is which of the four body weight methods for explosive power, the four methods of getting your body weight into your punch to give it explosive power. The first method obviously is the fall in step. Okay, the fall in step. Step forward with my lead foot, almost like I'm stepping forward to pop a balloon. The second method is the leg spring, which works in conjunction with the fall in step. Remember, I'm in that medium crouch or semi-crouch stance. My leg is coiled up. It's bent and coiled, really ready to uncoil and give me that driving forward momentum or that explosiveness in that rear leg. So now the leg spring with the fall in step. See how now I can add distance and the leg spring basically generates the power by explosively springing forward your body weight. The third method is that shoulder whirl. I talked about finding the shoulder whirl or executing it with your fists together like you're striking with the elbows. If one elbow comes forward, the other goes back. Now I'm rotating that upper body, generating punch and power. The fourth method is that upward surge or that hip punch. Okay, that's used more for your uppercuts and your shovel hooks. So there's two types of hooks that Jack Dempsey talks about. The first one he calls the outside hook. So the outside hook is, remember, if I'm here, I'm gonna demonstrate it with that lead. The outside hook is, I'm gonna load it, is a bent arm punch. It's almost like an L, like the shape of the letter L. Okay, I'm still gonna hit and make contact with the bottom three knuckles, aiming with that second knuckle. That all stays the same. So the sharper I can keep that elbow bent, the sharper, all right, the more power and the more pure that hook's gonna stay. So the more I open up the hook, it turns more into a swing, and then you're gonna violate the power line, and you're gonna be hitting with your front knuckle and everything. Okay, I wanna keep the arm bent. So here, it's a bent arm punch. Remember, if this shoulder comes forward with the punch, for me to do the shoulder roll, this shoulder has to pull back. So one goes forward while the other shoulder goes back. And if you think of a wheel, if I had a wheel right here and I spin the wheel, that's kind of like how you're gonna hit with your hook punches. So Jack Dempsey talks a lot about keeping the hook pure, the punch pure. If I open it up, because it feels like you have more power if you open up the punch and turn it into a swing, all right? And sure, you can probably knock people out, but it's dangerous because you open yourself up. When you keep that hook tight and pure, here, you're more tight and you're more defended against your opponent's counter punchers. So, I'm just gonna stand in front of the bag. First thing I wanna do is, I'm gonna put the hands together here, stand in a neutral stance. I can stand in my boxing stance too if I want. And I'm just gonna rotate while striking with the elbows. You can see where I'm really grinding in, hitting with those elbows. Okay, that's the shoulder whirl. Now, instead of hitting with the elbow, I'm going to turn it to that fist, keep it tight, and I'm going to hit with the 3-knuckle landing. So I can go back and forth, right there, and then I can rotate and do the left hook. Okay, making sure I rotate and keep the punch nice and tight and sharp, the elbow sharply bent. And remember, I'm focused on that 3-knuckle landing, and then when my arm and my elbow is nice and bent, everything's in alignment, and I can feel, when it comes to the power line, I can feel my body weight when I rotate with the shoulder whirl go into the punch. Look at that. See how I push the bag with my hand? That's the power line. A lot of times, if let's say I open it up here, it's weak. It's weak. I can barely move the bag, or if I do, I can barely move it. Right? This, when it's tight, it's easy for me to use my body weight into the punch. But if I open it up, I become weaker. Less body weight into the punch. So that's the difference of keeping a hook pure, versus a hook that opens up and turns into a swing. So not only do you have your outside hooks to the head, you can drop down and rotate. Remember, you're still doing that shoulder whirl. Even if you squat down, I can do those outside hooks to the body. So I'm still hitting with the 3 knuckles, the last 3 knuckles, aiming with the 2nd knuckle. So if I drop down and rotate, remember, I'm doing that shoulder whirl, and I just keep the hook nice and elbow sharply bent, keep it tight, poof, right there. Poof, poof. So this outside hook is really good. Imagine if my opponent's elbows are in tight here, and I do that outside hook, and I go outside or around his elbows and hit him in the side, almost the kidneys, or the same thing on this side to the liver. So I can drop down, poof, 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 rotate, and throw those horizontal hooks to the body, outside hook. So I can go to the head, I can drop and rotate to the body. I can go to the head, I can drop and rotate to the body. But don't forget the shoulder whirl. A lot of people arm punch, arm punch, arm punch, arm punch. You gotta rotate into your punch, doing that shoulder whirl to generate the maximum amount of body weight for your punching power. The next series of hooks are called your shovel hooks. Jack Dempsey, in his book Championship Fighting, really spoke highly of the shovel hook. I mean, you see a lot of his old fight footage, he was hitting like Jess Willard with those outside hooks to the head and to the body. But he really likes that shovel hook. So what is a shovel hook? First, we got to identify what method, explosive body weight method out of the 4 that the shovel hook used. And I touched on this in other videos. So when I'm in that medium crouch, let's focus on the rear shovel hook first. So a shovel hook, so an outside hook is a palm down, tight, sharply bent hook landing with the last 3 knuckles. And I'm using the shoulder whirl. I'm using the shoulder whirl to the head, to the body, okay? The shovel hook, I'm gonna pull the elbow, instead of being out, is gonna be in close to the body. So just for the sake of the drill, I'm gonna drop my hand. Remember, when you throw hooks, the hand's gotta leave your chin or it's gotta leave your body. Okay, that's what makes hook punches more dangerous to throw than straight punches, because you're gonna expose yourself a little bit. But boxing, fighting, martial arts, it's all about timing, throwing the correct tool at the right time. So I'm in that medium crouch. I'm gonna put the elbow in. I'm gonna bring the hand out a little bit. First, we're gonna focus on the shovel hook to the body. So I think it's easier to learn the shovel hook to the body than to the head. So I'm gonna bring the hand down, elbow in close. I'm gonna bring the hand down almost like I'm doing a karate punch, okay? I'm gonna bring it down, I call it a slot or the pocket. I'm gonna bring the hand down to the pocket, but the elbow stays in close. Remember what we talked about in the other videos, one of the 4 methods is that upward surge combined with the leg spring. Okay, so let me back up a little bit so you can see my lower body. So I drop it down here, okay, elbow in tight, and I'm just gonna bring it up. Remember, uppercuts and hooks to the body, or hooks to the head usually come out of a crouch position. That medium crouch or that low crouch. Okay, you want to start from one side or the other to throw the hook because you got to generate momentum to get into that hook punch. So again, hand here, and I'm just going to bring it up. You see where the hand comes here. Remember, the elbow's in tight, and I'm going to hit with those 3 knuckles. It almost makes it look like I'm hitting with the side of the hand, but I'm not. I'm preserving the power line by keeping everything pulled in tight. So again, I'm here, I'm going to drop it down and come up into the body. You can see where this leg straightens out and drives my hip, which becomes the upward surge into that punch. So again, right shovel hook to the body, boom. So I'm here, drop, and then fire. Drop, and then fire into my opponent's ribs. Same thing on my left side. This side, I got to start from this side. Okay? I'm here. That's why hooks are so perfect when you slip, to fire off your slips, you know, or your bob and weaves, is because it puts yourself in a position to generate the most amount of power into that punch. So I'm going to start, I'm going to do a slip, I'm going to get to this side, elbow in tight, shovel hook. You see that upward motion, that's the shovel hook. That's how you get punching power, is having your body. Remember, when the hand and the arm is second fiddle to the movement and explosiveness of your hip motion, generating that explosion, getting your body weight into the punch. You know, right now I weigh about 195 pounds. When I hit you with that shovel hook, I want 190 pounds, 95 pounds hitting you. I don't want just the weight of my arm. I want my whole body weight hitting you when I throw these shovel hooks. So again, on the right, drop, shovel hook. Shovel hook. I drop it into the slot. I'm not pulling it back here. Keeping it tight. Shovel hook. The arm is just an extension of my body, of my hips. I hit with my body. The arm is just there. That's what, it's like the lightning rod. That's what the electricity goes through, is my arm. But the body weight. Remember, I'm aiming for the last 3 knuckles, that 3-knuckle landing, keeping the power line. Shovel hook to the body. Shovel hook to the body. Just like on the heavy bag, you know, I get my slip, shovel hook. I slip, shovel hook. Keeping the elbow pulled in tight, rotating, doing that hip hunch or that upward surge into the shovel hook. Now what goes to the body can go to the head. So the shovel hook to the head, the same thing. I drop it down, but instead of coming into the body, I'm going to bring it up to the head. Now when you use the shovel hook, you got to be close to your opponent. Okay, you can't be far away. You're not going to, if my opponent's here, I'm not going to try to hit with the shovel hook from way out here or to the head, because then it becomes a swing. You got to use the proper punch at the proper distance or range. So the shovel hook to the head drops here and it comes up. I keep the elbow bent. I'm not extending the arm out. That's more for the uppercut. Okay, I'm keeping it tight. Shovel hook to the head. Shovel hook to the head. See? Imagine me being close to my opponent and I get my head off the side and his head's right here. I drop down and give him a shovel hook right to the side of the jaw. Okay, that's going to do a lot of bad damage, especially if I use the upward surge and get my body weight into it. So again, let's go over all 4 shovel hooks. Shovel hook to the body, shovel hook to the body, shovel hook to the head, and shovel hook to the head. Now I'm just going to hit the bag a little bit. I'm going to rotate through all 4. So I can hear. You can see where I just generate all my body weight into the shovel hook. Now that we've covered the shovel hooks, now we're going to go and cover the uppercut. The uppercut is very similar to a shovel hook to the head or to the body. But there's a little bit, the angle is a little bit different. So a lot of times if I do a shovel hook to the head, a lot of people mistake it for an uppercut. And rightfully so, it does look like an uppercut. But the uppercut is actually different. They both use that hip hunch or that upward surge along with the leg spring to generate body weight or power into the punch. So let me show you the uppercut. So I'm going to start with the rear hand. So the uppercut from that medium crouch, remember, I'm going to slip to the side. I'm going to drop it down into that pocket like I did the shovel hook, but instead of coming up and keeping the elbow tight to the body, I'm going to sway my hips more to the side as I rotate, and I'm going to bring it like I'm going to hit the chest bone, but I'm going to bring it straight up. The elbow comes up and out. So the uppercut comes up like this. You see how the elbow now is detached from the hip. So the difference between the shovel hook, the elbow is attached to the hip, where the uppercut, the elbow leaves and drives upward, but it's the same upward surge. Same thing with the left side. Shovel hook, where my elbow's attached, or uppercut, where the elbow comes up. Because you think about it, when you throw an uppercut to the head, you want to get under the chin and lift the chin up. So think about it, I'm coming up under the chin, where the shovel hook is more of a hook, and the uppercut brings up the middle, comes right up the center line. So if I draw a line from my groin area to my nose, that's the center line. The uppercut comes up, and the elbow detaches from the body and drives up. Very similar between the differences to your outside hook and your shovel hook. So a shovel hook to the head, elbows in tight. Where your outside hook, the elbow leaves the body and is sharply bent on the outside. That's why it's an outside hook versus a shovel hook. Same thing. Shovel hook, uppercut. You see how the uppercut comes here, and especially if you get to the side, you can rotate your body more and bring that uppercut up. Like I said in the previous videos, one of the four body methods that you're using to get your body weight into the punch is called that upward surge and that leg spring. But you can also, with the uppercut, is I'm adding it just like the shoulder, and just like the shovel hook, is I add that shoulder whirl. You see how the shoulders are rotating? So I do a combination of 3 or more of those 4 explosive power movements. Okay, so shovel hook to the head, uppercut. Same thing to the body. Shovel hook to the body. Now the uppercut comes more to the center line, but I'm coming up and the elbow leaves the body. So I'm going uppercut, uppercut to the body, uppercut, uppercut to the head versus shovel hook, shovel hook, shovel hook, and shovel hook. Nice and tight and compact. So that is your outside hooks to the head and body. That is your shovel hooks to the body and to the head. And that is your uppercuts. So there's one more thing I want to add, especially for the shovel hooks or even the uppercuts, is usually my fist is at a 45 when I hit the shovel hook. So I'm hit with the last 3 knuckles. But I can change it to that vertical fist up like this. And I can throw the shovel hook with that vertical fist to the head or body. Same thing with the uppercut. I can bring that vertical fist still hitting with the last 3 knuckles. The reason why I added this, because it really feels good, especially that shovel hook with that vertical fist feels really good. But in Jack Dempsey's book, when he teaches the shovel hook, your hand's more at a palm up position at a 45. But if you watch him fight, especially his exhibition fight against Cowboy Latrell when he was in his 40s, he got the guy against the corner and he was throwing, you can see clear as day him throwing shovel hooks to the head, okay? But he was actually using that vertical fist, okay? Very interesting. I recommend you go check out that fight on YouTube where it's Jack Dempsey versus Cowboy Latrell, and you'll see him get the guy in the corner. You can see him throw a shovel hook. You can see him throw an uppercut. You can see him throw an outside hook to the head and body. So that is it. That is hooks and uppercuts, Jack Dempsey style. Now let's go over one of the most misunderstood or underutilized hooks in boxing, which is called the corkscrew hook. Jack Dempsey talks a lot about this hook punch in his book, Championship Fighting. So starting from your fighting stance, I'm in that medium crouch. So a corkscrew hook is, remember, this is an outside hook to the head. outside hook using the shoulder whirl. Now the corkscrew hook, instead of hitting with the palm down, I'm gonna turn that palm down and drive in the 3 knuckles here. So a corkscrew hook is a combination of a jab and a hook together. So I'm here, corkscrew hook here, it kind of goes out straight here, and then at the last second it turns and that thumb goes down and it drives in with the knuckles. So the corkscrew hook here, it kind of goes out and then down. Elbow comes directly up and it hits at that downward angle. It's almost like you're corkscrewing the fist at the end. Now, the footwork that you use with the corkscrew hook is a pivot. So what's a pivot? So in boxing, a pivot is, I'm just gonna turn on that lead foot and pivot. You see how I'm here? I'm gonna turn and pivot. So when you do that corkscrew hook, I'm gonna pivot, swing my body around, which generates body weight into the punch, because this is actually pretty weak. But when you add that pivot into there, and then you can drive that corkscrew into your opponent. So against the heavy bag, I might be here, and I can just hit with the corkscrew. All right, it feels okay. I don't feel like it's a super hard punch, but when I add that pivot, and I pivot with that, my body weight pivot, and then add more of a shoulder whirl, I generate more power into my corkscrew. So I'm here, yeah, that feels a lot better. It feels more power. So get on the heavy bag and try it. Try it with I'm just gonna corkscrew the hook, or I can add that pivot, and then it swings, it generates more body weight into the punch. So that's the corkscrew hook off the lead arm, which you're gonna utilize more. You can also do a corkscrew hook off the rear arm. So remember, the outside hook, I'm gonna do the shoulder roll, out, keep the hook sharp, the elbow sharply bent, and do that outside hook. Now I can actually turn it down, where it's almost gonna come like a straight right, and then it turns over, okay? So I can maybe do a straight jolt, and then do a corkscrew hook, okay? Where Jack Dempsey talks about how to use that rear, that right corkscrew, is in the clinch. So let's say you're closer to your opponent, he throws like a hook, you do like this outside block, okay? And then from this hand position, I can turn it into that corkscrew hook. Or if I got his arms here, my hands are inside on the biceps or the forearms of my opponent in the clinch. When I'm here, his arm is down here, and I'm riding his arms, I can turn that into the corkscrew hook. So that is the corkscrew hook on the lead hand side and the rear hand side.